ever wondered what to put on a resume, or maybe what not to put on a resume? Maybe you're mystified by the cover letter and why you need one. So I've been spending a lot of time lately looking at resumes and talking to people about their resumes, and so I thought it might be useful to do a short video on some of the do's and, more importantly, some of the don'ts when it comes to doing resumes and cover letters. I want to start with a caveat that these are just my suggestions based on my experience in reading and writing cover letters and resumes. My suggestions may not fit for every situation or job interview, and of course there's more to writing a resume and cover letter than I'm going to be able to cover in a short video. So let's start with the do's. Do your research. So you see a job posting and you think, hey, I might actually fit here, or oh, this is an organization I've always wanted to work for. What do you do next? Well, I would recommend going directly to the internets. Doing your research about an organization or about a job position is really important. Whether or not you know about the organization, looking on their website, maybe even contacting them for an informational interview, your knowledge about the organization can really come through in the cover letter and in your resume. You can also work your network, so if you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who might be able to put you in touch with somebody at the organization, it's often worth reaching out. Do craft your cover letter and resume for each and every position you're applying for. Just do it. I know this one is really painful, especially if you're applying for a lot of jobs at one time. But it is so important to craft your cover letter and your resume for each and every position you're applying to. Basically, in these 2 to 3 pages, you are trying to make the case for why you are the best fit for their organization. You want to make sure that in those 2 to 3 pages, it becomes very clear to them how your skills fit their needs. A lot of people think of the resume as just sort of a list of all of the other jobs I've ever had, and yes, it is that. It's also a way to convey your interests and your unique experiences and your skill set to what it is that the organization's looking for. I know that this can take time and it can seem really arduous, but it's so important. You also want to be able to impress them with the way that you talk about your skills. Now, you shouldn't lie on your resume, but you also shouldn't underestimate yourself. And one of the things that I recommend is that you talk to a close friend or colleague, somebody who knows you, somebody who knows your skills or your personality, somebody who can talk through a little bit what they see in you and what they think are valuable skills and personality traits that you should represent in your resume. Because oftentimes our friends are way better at seeing the qualities that we can't recognize in ourselves. In the cover letter, you really want to make the case for why you're the best fit for their organization. I often recommend starting off a cover letter with a few sentences about the organization to which you're applying to convey that you understand what it is that they do, what they care about, and what they're looking for. Then you want to spend the next paragraph or so outlining how the experiences on your resume fit the needs that the organization has. And you want to be pretty specific here. The more you're able to articulate how your skills meet their needs, the more impressed they're going to be. And I cannot stress this enough, the cover letter is so important. It's what gets you in the door for an interview. Choose your words. So when you're writing your cover letter and your resume, you want to be pretty specific about the words that you're using. I often recommend to people using what I call mirroring. I do this in grant writing a lot too, where I'll go to an organization's website and I'll take note of the words that they use to describe their work, and I'll try to use those words when I'm writing a cover letter or a grant application. Basically, the more you're able to convey that you understand their lingo and the way that they talk about the work, you're more likely to seem like, to them at least, somebody who's already on board with the work, who's already drunk the Kool-Aid. Don't blindly apply for everything. And especially don't copy paste the name of the organization and the position title into a form letter and expect that to work. It's a waste of your and your potential employer's time, and we see right through that, so cut it out. Don't submit more or less than what's asked for. Oftentimes in a job application, people will ask for just a resume and cover letter at the first blush. So if they ask for a resume and cover letter, give a resume and a cover letter. And only a resume and cover letter. Chances are most employers aren't going to spend the time looking at any additional materials that you add on that they didn't ask for. A lot of times you'll get to an interview phase, at which point an employer might ask for references or a writing sample. At that point, of course, provide them with everything they need, but beforehand, it's not worth it. Don't pick references who aren't going to say nice things about you. I don't see this too often because usually people are pretty good about picking references, but I've been asked to be a reference for people sometimes where I feel like, I don't know you, like, at all. So I'm not going to provide a good reference. It's not because I don't like you or think that you're a perfectly nice human being, but I literally can't speak to your work qualities or professionalism. This, I think, happens a lot more for students who are coming out of undergraduate institutions, especially very large ones where they haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to work one-on-one with professors or graduate students. But I think it can happen in the job market too. You want to be careful to think about who your references are and the messages that they're going to send to your potential employer. So you want to pick people who you've worked with, people who know your work skills, your productivity, your professionalism, all of the characteristics that you want them to talk about when a potential employer calls. So you got the interview! Now what? Don't panic, this is a good thing. This means that your cover letter was spot on, your resume has the right qualifications on it, and they think you're kind of cool, so they want to bring you in for an interview. A lot of people get really freaked out at the interview phase, and I totally get it, but I've got some tips and tricks for you. That'll come up in a future video. So subscribe to this channel if you haven't to see that when it comes out in a couple of weeks. If you have other questions about resume and cover letter do's and don'ts, leave them in comments. I'll try to get to as many of them as I can. And if any of you have really great examples of either really good or really terrible resumes and cover letters to share with others, please leave those in comments as well. And in the meantime, give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.